Welcome to another edition of 68 Shining Moments presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Today we catch up with former North Carolina stars George Lynch and Derrick Phelps about their win over the Fab Five in the 1993 national title game. All right, now pleased to be joined by two key players from North Carolina's championship team back in 1993 with that memorable win over the Fab Five. I know you guys probably are sick of hearing about that, Derrick Phelps and George Lynch. Like, how much do you hate the fact that that game is remembered for the Chris Webber timeout?
I hate it. I hate it very much because I believe, I know and I felt that we had control of that game at the end. We were up. They didn't have any timeouts left. And I like to tell people all the time, if it was a close game, we had confidence that we had Dean Smith on the sideline, and that's all we needed.
What do you think of that, Derrick? Like, does that piss you off?
Yeah, it does in a way. Like, that's all they talk about. And I think the biggest thing with us, we was a very good team, and we was like a number one seed. So like, it kind of treat us like we was like a back burner, like we wasn't able to have a chance to win a game or something like that. So it is kind of disappointing that all they talk about is their part of their history instead of us, and which we won the game, which is crazy.
Now you didn't win the one back in late December, and a lot of people don't remember that. You played them in Hawaii at the Rainbow Classic in like the semis, and it came down to a buzzer beater where they beat you, right?
Well, it was a tap in. We were up one. And Coach Smith always stressed fundamentals. And I don't know how we missed that box out assignment. But I take the loss in December and the win in April over any day.
Yeah, no, you won the right one. You split,
exactly.
But you got the right one of the two, no doubt about it. So, all right, so Derrick, you guys go in to the tournament. You're both number one seeds. You're both kind of, obviously there was a lot of attention placed on the Fab Five from what they had done the previous season. I'm sure you heard about them all year long because everybody's talking about Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, all those guys. So you come out of the gates and you beat the living heck out of your first two opponents. I remember the URI game. URI game you won. Second round game seriously about like 100.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with me at the time, because I was still coming off an injury off the ACC tournament when I fell on my tailbone. So it was like very skeptical about me playing how much I will play during the NCAA. But, with the good training and stuff like that, I was able to, regardless, I was going to play no matter what during that run. But yeah, our first two games was just a good testing point for us to get us rolling, because we did lose our ACC championship game. So we was kind of motivated to go into the tournament to push through it.
So George, you go in Sweet 16 game. You got Cincy, and everybody knows what Cincy's about, right? I mean, hugs, and you got Nick Van Exel, and like Van Exel came out of the gate strong, right? I mean, didn't he score like 20 in the first half? It was a good first half.
And Derrick at halftime, I remember Derrick said, "Coach, let me have him." And after that, it was shut down from there on. It was funny how the season played out and the way the schedule was set up. We would go on 8-game winning streaks. We'd lose one and refocus. I remember, like Derrick said, the ACC tournament, he said, "Guys, this is the last game we're going to lose." And when you have your point guard who's at, the leader of the team, say that after coming off an injury, because like you said, we didn't know he was going to play. We thought we was going to have Henrik Rodel at least until the Elite Eight.
Really?
But, he came back. He was, played tough, played through the pain. Didn't practice much, but it might have worked to his favor because it saved his legs.
So halftime, you go in, and again, Van Exel's got like 20 at the break, Derrick. And I think he had 2 points over the rest of the game after halftime. Did you just convince Dean that, hey, let me lock him up and I don't need help? How was it?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Coach Smith, he trusts his players. And, especially with me being the point guard, the coach on the floor, he felt like, okay, Phelps, it's time for you to do what you do. And I think the biggest thing, the funny part in the scouting report is like, okay, Van Exel could shoot the ball streaky. If he hits one, okay, we're still gonna play our regular. If he hits two, he kind of hit like 3 or 4, and it was like, oh, coach. Coach,
Streaky.
Right.
Yeah, he was on.
Yeah, it's time to really let's guard this guy. And in the second half, it's like I just took upon myself. It's kind of like basically kind of boxing one-ish. And I just stayed on him, and everybody else kind of played a 4-on-4 defense against everybody else.
How much trash did he talk in that second? He could talk. We know that. Was he talking in the second half or no?
No, I think that with him, he was talking by his play that game. I know he gave us some motivation stuff before the game. He was like, Michael Jordan's not on their team. So it kind of gave us motivation to go against Cincinnati in that round.
So it's funny because I was drafted in LA with Nick, and he talked about that. And he said, gee, I'd have gave y'all 50 if I ain't stay out all night. So between Derrick locking him up and him staying out all night, going into the Sweet 16, I think it played to our favor.
Listen, all I know is he probably stayed out all night, every night. He was used to that. All right, that wasn't a one-time thing. He was used to going out.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys get Kansas in the Final Four. What do you remember about the build-up to the Final Four? Any great stories coming into the Final Four?
All I can remember is the 2 years before that in Indianapolis. We had the 3 seniors that year was King Rice, Rick Fox, and Pete Chilcutt. They shot 5 for 25 in that Final Four game. We lose by 4. And that set with me. I couldn't wait to play Kansas again. That set with me for 2 years. And then the way Coach Smith got, had the 2 technicals, got kicked out of the game. And we felt that year we had Duke's number. We had beaten Duke 2 to 3 times that year, handily. And we knew if we got to the championship game, whether it was Vegas or Duke, we were going to win that championship. So I don't know about Derrick, but I felt cheated. I felt that I should have had 2 national championships while I was my 4 years at Carolina.
Basically, it was kind of my first year. I was a freshman. So, yeah, so it was my first ride getting to the Final Four. We came in as 5 guys as well with, Montrose, Brian Reese, Clifford Rozier, and Pat Sullivan. So, that was our first ride. And just the adrenaline of getting there, the big deal with Roy Williams going against Coach Smith, his kind of basically his father figure of the coaching of the business for sure. And I was excited, and I was kind of upset too because I felt like I could have did some more to help the team win that game too, of course, too. And I think the thing with our styles of that year with Kansas and Carolina, we both run the same stuff. So we basically know what they were running. Yeah. They knew what we was running. It was like who gonna run the best offense best and guard the best. So that was a challenging thing and a fun thing too as well.
We'll get back to the show in a minute, but first, let me tell you about our partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook. With March Madness beating down our door, DraftKings is the best way for you to get a little action in on the game. If you've not downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app yet, what are you waiting for? It's the safest, it's the most secure, it's reliable, and it allows you to safely deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. And this week, they're offering my listeners a pretty sweet deal. If you sign up now with the promo code FIELD68, you can turn $1 into $100 if one of the main event fighters in UFC 259 this weekend lands a single punch. That's it. One punch to turn $1 into $100. And don't worry, if MMA isn't your thing, DraftKings Sportsbook offers odds and promos on basketball, hockey, or whatever sport you're watching. But since they're basically giving away $100, you might as well sign up now, watch a little UFC, and remember to use that promo code FIELD68. That's FIELD68. You must be 21 years or older. The offer is available for a limited time only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So you get past them, and now you're in the title game. And one thing always struck me, right? Dean, didn't he bring out – normally you bring out for the press conference, for the pregame stuff, you bring out your 5 starters. Didn't Dean bring out like 7 or 8 dudes? Didn't he bring out the bench? Do you guys remember that?
He might have brought out all the seniors.
I think he brought out more than just you 5 starters.
Yeah, because it was, he was big on everybody being a part of it. And we had a few walk-ons that were seniors. It was their last Final Four, there was their opportunity to, and I don't know if he did it just to piss everyone else off, or he did it to take pressure off the guys who were the 5 starters.
Yep. You guys
played a lot of mind tricks. And I got one story. I was talking to Matt Doherty, and remember the Florida State game, D. Phelps, and Coach Smith said there was 1 billion people in China wasn't even watching us play, so why we feel pressured?
Yeah.
Matt Doherty said he said that to them too. I was like, man, I thought we were special.
Did you guys cut down the nets after you punched a ticket to the Final Four that year? Did you cut down the nets?
No, we did not. We did not.
Because Dean said we're not doing it. We're going to wait till we win it all.
Well, I don't know if Coach Smith said it or one of us.
I think it was more of us. Like,
really?
said,
yeah,
the biggest goal of the Nets instead of just the Final Four and stuff like that. I think that was the key for us. Like, we didn't come here for the Final Four.
Right.
We came for win a national championship.
So you go into the title game, and again, it's a team you knew. Obviously the Fab Five you heard all about. I assume you guys were like ultra amped up. I mean, again, you had lost to them in Hawaii. You hear about them all the time. Was that something you were you were waiting for them, like not intimidated at all, ready to go?
Well, I felt that we had the original Fab Five with Derek, Cliff, Eric, Pat Sullivan, and Brian. So there was plenty of bulletin board material if we needed it. And we didn't need it because, yes, we respected them for the baggy shorts and the black shoes and the black socks, because we was hoping that Coach Smith would let us wear black sneakers and black socks. I was envy of them because they were wearing Nike. We wore Converse. But I was glad of the trends that they were a part of for college basketball. I think it was great. But as far as a player, you hear them talking about they didn't even know who we were. Look, they knew the battle they were in Hawaii.
Yes.
And they knew we had that game won. Unfortunately, it came down to a box out. Going into the championship game, we knew that if we played our game, we would come out on top.
Derek, what do you remember about kind of the early part? Because it was close, right? I mean, that was kind of a back and forth type game for the most part. I feel like nobody had a big lead throughout pretty much the entire game. What do you kind of remember about it? And we'll get into the end here in a minute.
Yeah, it definitely was a back and forth deal. I think it was great strategy from both teams. And I think the biggest thing that I think Michigan did that got them, I think we kind of jumped in the lead a little bit early. Yeah. And then when they brought in Rob Pelinka and came in and started hitting some threes for them, kind of got them morale back and boosted them back into the game. So, we had to kind of change up to adjust to that as well. So I think it was a real competitive battle. I think it was kind of evenly matched. I give them a little credit. They had the most individual, maybe kind of like better talent for sure. But I think we were definitely the better team wise as a unit. Because, the way we played together, moved the ball and just work inside out and just, I think everything else was like on our advantage.
All right, George, take me through the end. Take me through the last, I mean, again, like unforgettable, not just for you guys, but for everybody.
Well, it's funny because we talk about the game in December, and Derek and I, for some reason, Coach Smith allowed me just to break the defense, go trap when I see someone's number. And when we played them in December in the Christmas tournament, Chris would always want to take the ball out or bring the ball up the floor as a guard. So I told Derek, I said, look, D, we're going to just do a 2-man press and challenge them to bring the ball up. If anything, I was hoping to tire them out by the end of the game.
Okay.
They wasted a few timeouts. Derrick and I did a 2-man press. They anticipated us trapping. They just didn't know when we were going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a lot of me and Derrick winging it. I told Montross, protect the rim and I'll get back. Chris Webber was not my man. So on the scouting report, Coach Smith was probably like, what is he doing? And so when Jalen took the ball out, I told Derrick, play in front of Chris Webber and I'll play behind him. And when he throws it back in, you can get back to Derrick. I'll run back down and guard Jawan. And few plays before that, they burned timeouts. And I like to tell people this story. Derrick, you remember that practice when Donald dove on the floor and called a timeout?
Yes.
And Coach Smith made us run for it. I mean, he scarred us. No one would ever call a timeout unless Coach Smith basically said, look, get the ball in, 10 seconds left, call the timeout.
Yeah.
We would have never – they would have had to trap us in the corner. We would have had to turn the ball over before one of us called a timeout. So going back to that game, they burned a few timeouts early at the end where they didn't have a timeout. And, we went to our huddle just like they went to their huddle, and Coach Smith and Phil and Coach Guthridge, all the coaching staff, like, look, they don't have no more timeouts. So when we go back in the game, Jalen takes the ball out. They try to get the ball in. He travels. So if they'd have called it travel, the game would have been over.
That rattled them. I feel like that rattled them, didn't it?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
And then as we running up the sideline, we would do drills in practice where we would use the sideline as an extra defender. So if you ever been to a Dean Smith practice, you would understand the attention to detail that we had to go through. Mm-hmm. So we get him on the sideline, and I knew I wasn't going to leave him. Derrick was there, and to me, I trusted D. Phelps because I knew that he was going to apply ball pressure. So a lot of my steals, I think when I left Carolina, I was number 1 in steals. Derrick ended up taking the record from me. But a lot of my steals, I have to give him credit because he applied the pressure.
Yep.
I was just the lucky one to be able to anticipate the next pass and go for it. And but we got Chris Webber on the sideline, and he had nowhere to go. And they weren't prepared for a press offense, which surprises me because if you play a Carolina or Roy Williams or Dean Smith team, you got to be prepared for a press offense. Yeah. And that's how it ended.
So, Derrick, what do you're right there. Did you realize it right away? Did you realize when he called the timeout, did you know right away they don't have timeouts? Did you know it was over?
Well, like I said, Coach Smith always had us prepared. We knew going into that situation that it was no timeouts for them. And actually, when the ref actually called it, I had to look at the ref like, you really called it that they had no, the timeout for them? So it's like, it was shocking to me because they allowed the travel, first of all. So I guess it was like a makeup call to say, hey, he did call a timeout to me in some reason because, they already missed one part of the call early in that little run right there. So I was like, it was shocking. But when I saw it, when that happened, I knew it was over after that because we got to shoot free throws and get the ball back. There was no chance. And like you just feel like a little relief after that. And it's like, we got to this point. And Georgia didn't ever tell the story. Like, beginning of that year, 93, Coach Smith put the Superdome 1993 champs in all of our locker.
Oh, he did? Really?
Before the season. And just to look at it every day when we go to practice or whatever, games, it was always in our locker. And that was like just to visualize that at the end of the year, we should be winning the Superdome. So that was a big key for us as well.
Well, listen, more people should remember that as the North Carolina 93 national champs than the Chris Webber timeout game. I know that eats at both of you, but you know what? You guys still have rings. You got rings. They can't take that away. You beat a hell of a team to win that national title. I mean, that's the crazy part. And, listen, forever, you two will be etched in history because when he called the timeout, the two of you were trapping him.
Yeah, that's
It's kind of cool.
Hey, we're reminded every year around the Final Four when they play that those Final Four games. We're reminded of it every year.
Well, listen, I appreciate it, Derrick Phelps, George Lynch, appreciate it, and all the best. And thanks for joining us here on 68 moments, 68 greatest moments in NCAA tournament history.
Thanks for having me.